Hey everybody, welcome to Stuff, among other things, where we talk about stuff.
And other things.
I'm Nick.
I'm Bruce.
And today we're going to talk about something that's very near and dear to our hearts. We are what you would call metalheads, I suppose. Always have been, always will be. We just love the music to the higher of the extremes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Gotta have that intensity to my music. So big metal fan over here.
Same. It's got to be as gnarly and as powerful as you could possibly get, but not like black metal. Black metal is a little bit too, I don't know, hardcore for me.
Yeah, there's definitely some extremes out there that I want to stay away from. But that's kind of the point of this whole episode is we're just kind of going to go through and give you our input on it. Big disclaimer alert is these are all opinions. So if you don't agree with us, you're probably wrong. But it might just be that we're wrong. you're probably wrong. So keep that in mind. And we're always open to comments. We're always open to opinions. But this is just our opinion. We're not writing a book on facts here. Just telling you how we feel about our favorite genre of music.
Right. We're having a discussion, and you're tuning in to listen to our discussion, as it were.
Yeah.
I guess that's the definition of a podcast.
Yeah. I think that's the whole point here. So
Pretty much.
I think we're going to dive right in here. We have a little outline for what we want to talk about today, and it kind of all starts with where metal's at today. It's had its ups and downs over the years, and are we in an up or are we in a down? Nick, what's your take on the current state of metal?
Oh my gosh, it's definitely up compared to where it has been. Like, for me, the golden age of metal was early 2000s, 2003, 2004, 2005, right around in there. That's when you were getting some like ridiculous quality albums, and you were just always looking forward to something coming out. And then, I don't know, it seems like it kind of got set off to the side a little bit for everything else. And I don't know, what necessarily happened, if it was just people changing, from metal music to dubstep or whatever those kids listen to these days.
Right. Yeah, and you can see that a lot. Like even today's hard rock has a lot more elements of metal in it. We're seeing, some more double bass work and just general rock stuff. I've even heard things on the local, not even hard rock station, but just regular radio rock stuff that was a little bit heavier than I expected to hear. So I think the general public is kind of getting more acclimated to the idea of things can be heavy and not just from the devil himself. So I agree 100%. There's some upcoming albums coming out this year. This is being recorded January 2019. So we got some stuff coming out here pretty soon. Any particular albums of note that catch your ear or interest you?
Oh my god, I have so many that I'm so excited for. This is going to be a good year for metal. Okay. Number one on the list, straight out the gate, Devin Townsend, Empath.
Heavy Debbie.
Oh my god. If I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. I want to touch this man.
Okay.
I want to rub his bald head and tell him that he's special.
Yeah, and you're not the only one. He definitely can pack a venue for somebody that doesn't necessarily have a broad appeal in his music. Not a bad thing by any means, but he's not playing your everyday metal, and he's still packing venues.
Exactly. I mean, he's a phenomenal guitarist. He's a phenomenal vocalist. He's a phenomenal musician. Like, he doesn't matter what he does, he's a showman. He owns his craft, and he is number one on my list for this year. I'm so excited. That bad boy comes out on March 29th, and you got darn right. I'm gonna have that thing. I'm gonna have a preview on it, and I can't wait. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. There's a couple albums, and I'm gonna throw them out there really quick that are coming out. There's gonna be a new Killswitch album. Killswitch Engage is going to come out with something this year. And I can't say I've been the biggest fan of them lately. The whole Howard versus Jesse thing. You can take it or leave it. Yeah, I think Howard was the man. I always loved Jesse's early stuff, his later stuff. I don't know. I think I was just not in that mood whenever their new stuff's coming out. But supposedly they got like 20 some songs that they're trying to pick from and whittle down to an album. So it should be a pretty solid one.
Well, the thing I'm excited about is Howard was actually in the studio with Killswitch doing a dual vocal take with Jesse.
Oh, that's going to be sick. I didn't know that.
Right?
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. What else you got?
I'm really looking forward to the new Whitechapel album.
Yes.
That comes out March 29th as well. So March 29th, I'm not going to be doing much. It's just going to be me and music. It's going to be great. It's called The Valley. They've had a couple of the songs already posted, and one of them actually has clean vocals.
Yeah, it's going to be intense. The first time I heard Brimstone, that first single they dropped, that was awesome. I was like, yes, that's them. That's the Whitechapel we all know and love.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what Phil touches. I'm going to always get behind it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Highly recommend that one.
Absolutely. On my end, Lamb of God's going to come out with something. The last thing they did was the Burn the Priest covers album. I thought that was really cool to bring back that name,
right?
Burn the Priest. And,
I was excited to see that too.
Yeah. So full covers album of just songs that influenced them. So I'm waiting. Pretty excited to see what Lamb of God's going to come out with this year as well.
And one big one that I just found out today. New Fallujah album coming out.
Oh, wow.
Right? It's going to be called Undying Light. They've just released a new music video called Ultraviolet. That bad boy comes out on March 15th. I remember whenever me and you actually got to see them down in, what was that? Winchester.
Yeah,
No.
something like it, yeah.
No, it wasn't Winchester. It was Richmond.
Yeah, that's it.
Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah. So
And
that's going to be sweet.
Whenever they opened up for Dioda's Murder.
Yes. Yeah. That was a great show.
That was a great show.
Absolutely. On my end, I'm not meaning to stick to all my roots, but Slipknot's coming out with a new album.
Yeah, they are. Well, you heard that the new what the song was All Out Life.
Yeah, All Out Life. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I like it. They've kind of let me down the last couple of albums, and
there's some good stuff.
Yeah, there is some good stuff, but I think their anger was dying down a little bit, and it was good to hear some genuine nuances in the vocals on that All Out Life single. So excited to look at that. Anything else on your list over there?
There's a couple that I just want to touch on real quick. I'm looking forward to new Lorna Shore coming out this year.
Yes.
Very, very excited for Lorna Shore. A few things with them, with Tom leaving the group, going over to Chelsea Grin.
Right.
Connor left.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he left. So I'm not sure how they're going to handle things, but those guys they're going to be.
Oh yeah, they'll throw down. They'll throw down.
If Rings of Saturn comes out with a new album this year.
Oh yes.
Oh my God. Gojira. I heard that they were in the studio.
Oh,
again.
are they? I didn't hear that. Okay.
Yeah,
that's going to be sweet.
I think they're in the studio in the States.
Really?
Pretty sure they are.
Rocking it over in France. Okay.
Yeah, and last but not least, my big one is, I think it was yesterday, Tool.
Yes, that was the last one on my list that I was going to touch on.
Oh my goodness!
And we could have an entire video debating about how metal Tool is. Is it really metal? Is it hard rock? You know what? I don't care, because anybody that likes any of that heavier music genre has to give their props to Tool. They're doing their own thing. They're their own genre.
Exactly. And, the way I look at Tool is like they're influencers. They always have been. Ever since the '90s. Like, there's a reason that people are so excited for an album that hasn't been released for 4,218 million years.
2006 was their last album with 10,000 days, so it's been 13 years.
I'm trying to think what I was doing in 2006. I was a punk kid living in Pittsburgh. I was a teenager. God, that was a long time ago.
It was, yeah.
Well, think about this. The last time that there was a Tool album, all right, from then to now, we were able to build an entire satellite, launch it, send it past Pluto, and then wait several years.
Yeah.
That's how long it's been since we're going to have this Tool album.
Yeah, Maynard, glad that we're pulling this all together, man. Excited to see that. And I know this is more about metal, and some people say it is, some people say it isn't. I say they're metal, and it's going to be awesome. So those are some of the upcoming albums that we're really excited to see and or hear, I guess you should say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so next up, we just to kind of give you a perspective of who we are as metalheads, as listeners. We got some different lists of some of our preferred albums. Nick, go ahead and take it away and give us. We were doing like a roughly top 10 preferred metal albums. So what do you got?
This is not in any way, shape, or there's no order to this. It's just something that I would put into my CD player, or I guess I'd pull up on my iPhone since CDs are
Walkman isn't available, or
my Zune.
There you go. There you go. This is what we would rock on our Zune.
Shadows Are Security by As I Lay Dying.
Yes.
That just, it hits my metal funny bone. Like,
Yeah.
I need it in my life.
There you go.
You know, the first time that Meaning and Tragedy, you know, came out through the speakers, like, oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh, you know, instant gratification.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely loved it. Let's see here. Fit for an Autopsy.
Okay.
I love me some Fit for an Autopsy.
Yeah.
Like, if you had to put brutal into a metal band,
Yes.
you know, take the ferocity of Thy Art Is Murder and then put it to something that's in America.
Yeah, that's really it.
Pretty much. Like, well, there's a reason that didn't they were part of the Depression Sessions.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
With Thy Art Is Murder, and who else was it? Casey Estrade.
Yeah.
That was good too.
That was sick.
They're supposed to be coming out with another one of those.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I didn't know about that. So
I will buy it very first day, just so you guys understand that. I need it.
Yep, there you go.
Some that are near and dear to me, like Gone Forever by God Forbid.
Okay.
That was a really, really, really pivotal album for me. Just their writing style, the key that the whole album seemed to be in, that was, you know, impressive to me. Ashes of the Wake by Lamb of God.
There you go.
You know, like, there's so many good songs on that. I'm like, now you've got something to die for.
Oh, yeah.
Name a more iconic song, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my God! You know, that's phenomenal. Of course, I got Lorna Shore in there with Flesh Coffin. You know, the first time I ever heard Tom Barber's voice, I went insane.
Oh, yeah.
I was so sad whenever he said he was leaving Lorna to go to Chelsea Grin. But
We'll see how that plays out.
exactly. Like, the same reason that Jason Richardson left, you know, Chelsea Grin, to go and, you know, become Shred God.
Yeah.
You know, Jason, I love you. Let's see, what else do I got? LD50 by Mudvayne.
Oh yes, yeah. That's one of the gateway albums right there. You either are or are not a metalhead if you loved that back in the day.
That everyone starts out with that one from.
Oh yeah.
That was what, late '90s or early thousands?
It was around there. Yeah. It was definitely that.
2000 is when it was.
Yep.
I love The War Within by Shadows Fall.
Okay. Yep.
That introduced me to technical metal.
Yes.
Like Matt and John, like, very phenomenal guitarists. It makes me so sad that they stopped, you know, being a band.
Yeah.
You know, I absolutely hated that. Hate by Thy Art Is Murder.
Okay. Well, that.
I think Thy Art is probably top two. Top two favorite bands of mine.
Okay. Yeah.
I love Thy Art.
Cool guys as well. I don't know if anybody here
so
knew this,
cool.
but we got to meet them at their show in Virginia there the other year, and really, really cool guys.
So freaking humble.
Yeah.
Just it was a pleasure actually just being around them.
Yeah.
I was so excited. You know, they always, you know, oh, be careful to meet your idols. Well, they are my idols, and it was the best experience I've ever had.
Full admiration, absolutely.
Yeah, and rounding it off, of course, self-titled Slipknot.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Where it all began. Absolutely.
Like you said, you know, some of the newer stuff, I'm disappointed. I'm not gonna lie, same here. Like, I don't have their newest, like 0.5.
The gray stuff.
We don't need decimals in this, guys. Like, we're good. You know, just give me prosthetics.
Yeah.
You know,
just throw us an album and
give me Wait and Bleed. That's what I need. You know. How about you? What do you got on your list?
So yeah, actually, you touched on one of mine, so I'll go ahead and knock this off right again. And again, just like yours, not in any particular order, but Hate by Thy Art Is Murder. Yeah, absolutely brutal. I mean, my God, I Am Hell. That is awesome. A couple other albums that really hit, and I unfortunately I peeked a little and knew that you were going to throw some Lamb of God on your list, so I left them off of mine just so we didn't have some doubles. But some of the other albums I came up with was Shogun by Trivium.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to get into the whole it's their only good album debate, but it kind of is. And, I love that album. I don't know. They came in and they put it down, and album or songs like Kirisuko Men is just near and dear to my heart. Another album from about the same era, if I remember correctly, is The Blackening by Machine Head. I really like that.
There you go. That was what, 2008-ish?
Yeah, somewhere in that range. And it was right around the time that they were not they kind of shed that little bit of new metal vibe that they had going on. No more dreadlocks and things like that on stage. And really just got angry. That was the thing that I loved about that album. album, they were so doggone angry. Aesthetics of hate. That whole thing was just a hate letter.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's literally what it is.
And you cannot deny the straight up stadium anthem of Halo. That is just an absolutely epic song. Another album on my list is The Price of Existence by All Shall Perish. They were one of the bands that really tipped me over into this is getting really heavy now, guys, kind of music, and I appreciate them for that. Obviously, we know what has happened with that band since then, and they keep dabbling and hinting at coming back, and I don't know. I think it's down to like one member now, and I hope that they do well.
Well, hey, As I Lay Dying was down to one member, and now look at it.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah.
There is hope. You can do it, I believe.
There is hope, yeah. I mean, Francesco's off doing his thing with Howard Jones and everything like that, so we'll see how that all plays out, but that album was epic for me. You had an As I Lay Dying album on your list. I had another one. Mine was An Ocean Between Us. I know it's a little lighter than yours, but I loved it for the writing. Again, it was just there are a lot of really good killer hits on that. I Never Wanted, Nothing Left, Forsaken, things like that.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I would put any As I Lay Dying album into my car and just start to finish, no skips, nothing. Well, there'll probably be a couple repeats in there, I guarantee it.
Absolutely. That was one of the hard things about this list is I was trying to keep it to one album per band, and there were a couple bands where I'm like, I could just use their discography for half my list.
Exactly. I feel the exact same way about, literally everyone on my list.
Yeah.
Well, no, not Mudvayne.
Yeah, no, it's they had 2 albums for me.
Are you happy now?
No, I'm not. Another one on my list, Constellations by August Burns Red. I love APR.
Good choice.
Matt Grader is one of my absolute favorite drummers. The whole band is absolutely phenomenal.
Flip-flop metal.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. If you can go out and you can rock the surfboard tee and some flip-flops and throw down like that, all the power to you. And
they just look comfy.
Yeah, they really do.
It's like rocking out in Crocs. Like, why hasn't anyone done this?
That's
something we should do.
There you go. That's maybe the next episode. We'll talk about how that went. Songs like Whitewash, Meridian, and things like that. Another song that almost didn't make, another album that almost didn't make my list, but I went ahead and threw it on there. I'm not the world's biggest prog fan. Dream Theater, I appreciate what they do, but it becomes more of a theory lesson to me sometimes when I'm listening to that stuff.
It hurts my head when I count the measures.
But one album from, yeah, you're absolutely right. Is that the 17th time they've hit the 7th note? Between the Buried and Me, their album Alaska, really, God. It's enough prog to keep you interested. They're kind of all over the place, and they've had great albums since then. This is one of their older ones. I really loved what they did, and this was the album that kind of opened up my eyes. And it doesn't have to be, 4 measures of this, 4 measures of that. You don't have to have that theme within your music.
Oh, absolutely. They're one of those kind of bands where I could just literally just sit and. It doesn't matter what they're doing. Yeah. It could be, an hour and a half of them eating a ham sandwich. I would listen to it.
Oh, yeah. Their latest album has elements of ska in it. And I was listening and it brought a smile to my face. And I think if any other band had done it, they
would have been laughed at.
What is this crap?
But the problem is, you look at it, it's like, it's Between the Buried and Me.
Yeah. And
it's okay then.
Whatever they dabble in, they do it full stop. I mean, they excel at every genre that they intermingle with.
Pretty much, yeah.
Another couple albums, I'll try to keep this quick. Gojira, that was one of those bands where just about the whole discography did it for me.
They've been on repeat on my work computer now for like 3 weeks straight.
Oh, yeah.
Between them and Tool. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't literally them.
Yeah, and then Gojira is another band that does things that on paper shouldn't work for me. I'm not by any chance a fan of tapping. Eddie Van Halen, I know he put his mark in the music industry. He's respected for what he did. I can't stand tapping. However, The Gift of Guilt is a phenomenal song, and he taps the whole way through it, and I love it. And of course,
I think it's really the style. Like that song, it needs it.
Yeah.
Rather than just putting some icing on top of it.
Absolutely. And then of course the title track, La Enfant Sauvage. I think I'm saying that correctly. I'm sorry. I don't speak French. I don't France much, but that is just a killer song.
I love it.
Next up on the list, The Human Abstract. It's a band that's kind of gone through some different lineup changes. They have different sounds depending upon which album you listen to. I loved Digital Veil. That was another one that I could listen to all the way through.
Same.
Digital Veil, the song itself. Complex Terms it might be one of my top favorite metal songs ever.
Really?
Just extremely well written. Yeah, love that song.
Just when you think you know a guy.
Yeah, well, get ready for this next one. So the next album on the list is "It's All Happening" by I Wrestled a Bear Once, and there's going to be some folks out there that are going to be crap over this because they're like the Power Rangers of metal. But
no, that I'm fine with that. Iwabo is
they're very underappreciated. A lot of people don't realize. Of course, they've gone through some singer changes and whatnot. But
she kicks ass.
Oh my gosh, yeah, both of them do, and I love that their songs are all super playful. You know, they have they all sound like they're not taking themselves seriously because they really don't. You know, songs like "The Cat's Pajamas," "Tastes Like Kevin Bacon," but if you really dig in deep and look into the lyrics and things like that, they're extremely serious and great music. And last up on my list is another band, one of those bands that, they used to be extremely heavy metal. Now people don't think they're metal at all. I don't really care where you stand on it. I love me some Norma Jean. And Bless the Martyr and Kiss the Child is just a wonderful, wonderful album. If you don't like Memphis Will Be Laid to Rest, you're wrong. So that's my top 10-ish.
Way to single that one out.
Yeah, that's it. So that's kind of where we stand. And that's a good way for you to get to know us and see where we're coming from. You notice that we don't have a lot of thrash or any really on there.
Yeah, there's no thrash on there.
And it's just kind of where we're from. And we've experienced a bunch of other brands and genres and things like that. But this is who we are.
Well, the thing I was really looking at is me and you don't come from different backgrounds.
Right.
We grew up together. Like, I've known you since, what was it, 92?
Yeah, something like that. So yeah,
I think I was 5.
It could really just be one person on this podcast.
Pretty much. Like, your thoughts are my thoughts, and they always have been.
Yeah.
It's not like, we're just meeting up with someone that you met at college. I had a whole different, uprising.
Right.
Because there are some people that are just like, Metallica is the way, and there's some people that are just like, yay, Slayer. I'm not a Slayer fan, okay?
Yeah, no.
I named my mom's vacuum Slayer because she's had it since 1980 and it sucked the whole time.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're all, whoever listens to this, if you're a diehard metal fan, you're going to want to set us on fire for saying that. But I went, I saw. I'm not just saying like I heard half of a Slayer song and I didn't care for it. I sat through
the entire set,
and. Yeah, what they do extremely well, and they do it in every song over and over again.
There's literally no repeat.
If you like Slayer, I don't know, fight us. We don't like Slayer.
No.
So moving on.
I like Kerry King though. Please don't. If you hear this, Kerry King, please don't beat me up. You're a very large man, and your tattoos are scary.
Yeah, I second that absolutely.
Anyone that has tattoos on their head, I don't want to screw with. I'm sorry, Kerry King. I love Slayer. I was just kidding. Please don't hit me.
We'll go back and edit this later to remove that entire anti-Slayer rant.
Sorry. Well, it's like, side note, like Iron Maiden, for example.
Yeah.
They are phenomenal at what they do.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, 3 amazing guitarists in one band.
Yeah. But
do I want to listen to a whole album? Absolutely not. No.
I would listen to a few of their hit songs.
Oh yeah, Run to the Hills.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But at the same time, like if I had to listen into an entire album, I feel like I was invading someone.
Yeah, and it's funny. Iron Maiden is one of those bands that if you ever get a chance, listen to somebody do an acoustic cover of their song, and you realize how good they are at writing songs in general. Mm-hmm. But again, yeah, same thing. Just a little bit much to have a consistent album-long listening session. It would drive me to kill myself possibly.
Oh my goodness gracious.
No, I would just hate it. I would just not listen to it. So that's us. That's us in a nutshell, or at least that'll give you an idea. Hey, if they like these albums, this is the kind of metal jerks that these guys are. So moving on from that, the next question is, and I'm going to throw this at you and kind of let you take the lead on this, Nick.
Okay, go.
The current state of metal. How does that affect the sales of music equipment?
Well, the way I like to look at it, look at Misha from Periphery. If he did not do, musical equipment, and he had to rely just on music, Periphery's a big band. Don't get me wrong, but if he had to rely just on that, there is no way he'd be able to feed himself at the end of the day.
Right.
Being in a metal band is probably one of the toughest jobs you could possibly want to get into.
Oh yeah, that's why they're all so angry. They're poor.
They're so poor. Like Devin Townsend. I love me some Debbie. Didn't the dude just like he pulled in like $60,000?
Yeah,
in a year.
Right, yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like this guy has the voice of Jesus himself, and
all that talent, and he's pulling down used car salesman numbers
Right.
on his tax statements. So yeah,
why should he be begging people for money? And then people like Nicki Minaj, forget it. We're not going to go down that road.
But we all share that sentiment. If they're listening to this podcast and they like metal, yeah, they understand.
Exactly. I mean, that's so many bands. Like, if they're not selling musical equipment or endorsing it, like signature guitar models.
Right.
Like, there's really only a few actual people out there that would be able to get by. Like, Mick Thompson from Slipknot.
Yeah.
But this signature model.
Yeah.
He would be fine. You know why? Because he's got the power of Slipknot behind him. They
Right.
got big before the rise of the internet.
Right.
I mean, yes, the internet was out at the time they came around. I know that. But that's not how they, they got famous way before the internet got
they
big,
dug in deep, climbed into a van somehow, all of them, and they went out and they made themselves.
It's a big van for 9 dudes.
Yeah, it's definitely not a caravan.
Right.
My opinion on this, I kind of went out a different way and have a couple different things on this.
Go ahead.
One thing that I've noticed is that we're starting to kind of get away from our parents' equipment. Not everybody says you need a Les Paul and a Marshall full stack.
Right.
It used to always be the sentiment, how many channels do you need? One. And it's not it anymore. You can go into multi-channel. We've got guys that are doing just line-in stuff where they're coming to gigs without an amp and going DI into the rig. And they're putting out some killer tones. We note that Solid State is really kind of finally coming to its own. Solid State was always the cheap answer.
Yeah.
It was always I couldn't afford a Blue Voodoo. And now,
I got one of those.
Yeah, he does. And now you don't necessarily need one. When was the last time you turned yours on? Exactly. So
it wasn't this decade.
We definitely know that music's coming along. One specific element that I think metal really brought forward is triggering on drums. You really don't hear that anywhere else but metal. And I noticed, I think it genuinely just comes down to speed. There's a certain point where the
You just physically can't do it anymore.
yeah, it just sounds like mush. When you're hitting these drums as fast as some of these guys are, putting out these killer beats.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to be that precise at 280 beats for 4.5 minutes.
Right, yeah, exactly. So
I'm going to call him out on that.
Yeah.
Lies.
Yeah, so triggers definitely help with that. I don't feel like triggers are where they need to be yet. I haven't really heard any particular trigger out there that gave me a good enough sound for me to not just be like, oh, they're triggering that. And I can see why they're doing it, but it's definitely something I've noticed. One other thing that I've really noticed in the music equipment sales is extended scale and extended string instruments. And
The rise of the 8, 9, 10 string guitars.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Oh my goodness. You don't have that many fingers. Quit it.
Yeah, Jared Dines with your 18 string guitar, which is really cool, and I kind of want one.
That is the world's dumbest guitar. I want one too. And I don't know why anyone, please let me play it for a little bit, would ever want I need that guitar.
That.
Yeah,
so, but you see that all the time. You're seeing kids picking up 7 and 8 string guitars, and great. I hope that they use them to full effect.
But at the same time, when me and you were growing up, the first time I saw a 7-string guitar, it was the K7 from Korn.
Yes, yeah.
Like you see a 7-string guitar and you just think, oh yeah, that's for low music. And now it's like a commonplace.
Yeah, totally normal.
I don't get it. I mean, it is what it is, but
right. Yeah, my biggest issue with that is the guys that get them just for drop tuning and they're not really using it. They could use a 6-string guitar with some telephone cable sized strings on it and get the exact same effect.
Just get a bass guitar.
Yeah, if you're gonna have an instrument that has that many strings, please play them all. Play them all. Learn to play your instrument. I've gone to shows in the past. And I've seen guys tear up on 4-string basses, and then I have had guys come out on stage with 6 strings, and the only thing they do is they pluck the B. That's it. They're just a glorified rhythm player. So, and I'm not a fan of that.
Same.
All right. So next up, what do we got next in the notes? We're kind of winging this. This is episode 1, so
bear with us.
Yeah, no kidding. Digital media sales. The first note here, and Nick knows that this is really, really kind of jabbing me. The fall of CD sales. I am old. I am so old, and I still buy CDs, and I don't know why. I don't stream. I don't use any of the streaming services.
My car doesn't even have a CD player.
Exactly, and I got to get over that, and I think that's really important. What's your take on CDs in general?
Well, I mean, CDs, they were cool while they lasted, but as technology improves and people get more and more, I can't think of a better word than lazy. Honestly, like, are you really going to get out of bed and get in your car and drive your fat ass down to the music store to pick something up? Like, on March 29th, when those couple albums come out, I'm picking up my phone, I'm clicking, doop, doop, doop. I'm going to have it in my hands within 10 seconds.
Instantly, yeah. And that is a huge benefit. And don't get me wrong, I don't specifically listen to CDs. I'm just one of those guys that wants to see physical evidence of my purchase.
Fair enough.
Half of my CDs are actually still in their original packaging because I usually get some type of free download whenever I purchase them anyways, and I don't even have to open the case. But yeah, physical media, gone are the days of the CD changer. Nobody's hopping out of their car at the car park and changing
CD visor, man.
Yeah, there you go. They're not changing their 6 discs in their trunk and then hopping back in. Personally, I actually use a flash drive on my stereo in my vehicle, and I have hundreds of albums on it, and it works out quite well.
It's just so much more convenient, and you can change it in a heartbeat. And
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%, and I know some people are out there, laughing at me a little bit for still purchasing them. I don't know.
Well, you also have to. There's also people out there that are, look at vinyl. Vinyl's going back up.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
everyone's going vinyl. It's like, oh yeah, I prefer the sound quality. It's like, shut up. You're buying it because it's the cool thing to do. You freaking hipster.
Yeah. We don't. Yeah, I agree 100%. But people these artists are doing really cool things with vinyl now to get away from metal a little bit. Jack White, putting out albums instantaneously. He records it, he puts it on vinyl. That's how you have to buy it at first. Mm-hmm. There's some really cool prints out there where you're not just having a black disc anymore. You have multicolor vinyl in your vinyl. And it's really cool. It's really cool to see the bygone era hanging on like that, because nobody gives a darn about 8-tracks, but vinyl still has its thing. And
I don't know. I'm a pretty big fan of 8-tracks. The same 3 songs on a loop that you can never change.
Yeah, or fast forward. Yeah.
But at the same time, vinyl does kind of. I have mixed thoughts about it, mixed feelings, for the fact that if you look at the people that are saying, "Oh yeah, vinyl's so much warmer," so on and so forth. It's like, I can understand that if the artist was recording, on analog equipment and going that direction. But if they're recording this whole thing digitally and then putting it onto it, no.
Yeah, you can't tell the difference.
No, there's no difference. And if you're that big of an audiophile, then you're a bigger elitist than what we are.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And I think we're jerks.
Yeah, we tend to be, yeah.
Yeah, that is what we do.
I agree. So another thought here is the internet in general. We touched on that a little bit, and it's making a big impact on musicians in general. Especially, one of our main concerns is revenue. Are these artists actually even making any money off of it? You hear stories of, you getting paid a half a cent or even less per click, per stream, and things like that. And sometimes that goes through the whole process. Your record company, your producer, and everybody has to get paid off of that. Mm-hmm. Is it hurting the artists? Is it helping them? Because, there's the exposure side of things as well. What do you think on that?
Well, it's both a blessing and a curse. Like, look at all the big name bands that have gotten away from a record label, and now they're relying on things like crowdfunding in order to make their the latest album. I know it's not metal, but I can't think of what the album is. It's Mindless Self-Indulgence.
Oh, okay, yeah, MSI, yeah.
Yeah. It's the one that has like that neon coffin on the shape of the front of it.
That was pretty recent, wasn't it?
Within the last 10 years.
Yeah, okay.
Like, that whole thing, I'm pretty sure was crowdfunded. And it's one of the most phenomenal albums ever. And they're not tied on to, a label that's trying to suck them dry, because everyone wants a cut of the money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's helping putting some of the power back into the hands of the artist. Getting that middleman out of the middle. Don't get me wrong, our record labels have had their place. It's at a time way before the internet. Obviously, a lot of the artists coming out of Detroit in the 1950s, if they didn't have Motown, they didn't have any way to be heard other than come catch them at their local dive.
Pretty much.
But now today, artists can really kind of take it upon themselves. I think it puts a newfound strain on I don't know if I want to use the word strain, but there's this pressure to succeed. Years ago, you could have 2 or 3 hot hits, some really good singles on your album, and then 5-8 songs of filler, and people would buy the album because they have to. Now you have the option. You can click per song. So I think it really makes the artist have to kind of keep that in mind. They can't put out duds. They really have to put out some good stuff. Obviously, you're not going to have the backlash of a record label if you do have a bad record, so that maybe there's a little less of a downside if things don't go so well. But you really got to make sure you're on tip top with your abilities and putting out good golden stuff to make sure people are buying it.
Well, not just that. You also have the people that are just flat out pirating albums. That killed being a rock star.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, absolutely killed. Like me, like if I get on and someone has released, a teaser for something or like a music video, I'm instantly clicking on that. I want to see what these guys are putting out because this is these guys with their name on it putting out this product in anticipation for another thing that's coming out for them.
Yeah.
Am I going to download that album illegally? No. Because these guys put so much time, so much effort. Like that, for most of these guys, it's their job. Yeah. This is what they do to put food on the table. And if you're illegally downloading stuff, here, you hear this? That's me slapping your hand, bastards.
Yeah, knock that off. Support the artist. If you're going to find pleasure in what you're listening to, shouldn't you kind of pay for it? I mean, shouldn't you be okay with the idea? Mm-hmm. Not everything has to be free. You enjoy hearing these artists. Hook them up. Give them a couple bucks. It's not the end of the world.
Exactly. I mean, same thing happens at shows. If you are going to a show that has multiple bands, don't go for one band. You don't show up late. Stay and you watch every single artist.
Support the show.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys that they come and they watch one band and they roll out, and then the closer's like, they're where to And I understand you have to be good enough to demand somebody to stick around, but
there's a difference between musicianship and just being a dick.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do you think the future of music sales are going to go? What's next?
Honestly, I feel like we're at a point where there's not a whole lot that can change. Like maybe there's going to be different file formats. Maybe there's going to be different, audio qualities. I know FLAC's making a, kind of a push as being like the more high end, but I'm rocking some $17 headphones. It's not like I'm going to be able to tell the difference between. You get the idea.
Yeah, like the new 8K TVs that are coming next. It's like, my eyes suck.
Yeah, it's like once stuff looks like real life, it's not gonna look any more real lifey to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wear glasses. I can't tell the difference. Half the time I'm just cleaning my glasses so I don't have to see a smudge in the bottom corner of the screen. We're getting off topic now. I don't know. Like I feel like you're talking like just like general music sales, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're to a point where it's just so darn convenient. You have the power of any song you want in the palm of your hand within 5 seconds.
Oh yeah.
And it's outrageous. It's something that wasn't never heard of 50 years ago.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, imagine what we're going to see in 50 years.
Yeah. That's the future. Definitely is going to be interesting, but I really don't see a swing backwards. It's definitely going to continue evolving. I think it's going to be more direct artist to listener relations.
Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot less record labels.
Yeah. I think and everybody has their own now. So there'll be more record labels in number, but far less power within them. You're going to see the big guys,
exactly.
Like Virgin and Sony and things like that. They're going to have a tough time hanging if they don't look at this that's coming and figure out what to do about it. And I couldn't tell them what to do. So good luck, guys.
Exactly. I mean, you have to be big enough that you can just drop a surprise album and be the biggest album of the year. Eminem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next topic on this is something that we're kind of fired up over is the fact that it seems to this day, and this kind of ties in with the last little topic there, is record sales aren't doing it anymore. They're really not getting these guys, these artists, where they need to be financially to continue doing it. And it seems to be that touring can make or break an act. If they're not on the road 24/7, 365, some of these bands going on 16, 18 month and plus tour legs.
Exactly.
They're not making it. One band that comes to mind for me is God Forbid. How many times have you heard of bands like them that they're homeless while they're touring because they just can't afford it?
That's the whole reason that they stopped being a band. It's just not physically possible anymore.
Yep, absolutely. So, support your bands, I think, is kind of the message we're trying to put across here. Buy their merch. Don't get the pirated crap. Don't make your own, t-shirts or things like that. Make sure you're buying from the artist. I know $25 for a t-shirt's kind of outrageous, but hey, you were there. It's an experience. Every time you pop that t-shirt on, you're going to say to yourself, wow, this is something that was part of my life. That was a day that was fun. I was there with my buds. We're having a blast, and this t-shirt's bringing me happiness. And you know what? It's just $25. Support your local music scene as well. It never hurts to go out and see the little guys. Everybody has to start somewhere. But keep in mind that if you enjoy music, you really need to invest in it. You should not be concerned about the prospect of putting a couple of your hard-earned bucks, and yes, you do have to work for them, but so do they. Putting these hard-earned bucks at these artists and saying, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. Keep doing your thing, and I'm here for you.
I agree 110,000%.
All right, so moving on, underrated artists, and I'm going to let you kind of take off on this because I think you have a lot more notes on it than I do, so I'm just going to note it to you.
Well, one that I consider to be underrated, but people are finally starting to realize how good these guys are. Architects.
Yes.
I love Architects. Oh,
I just picked up Holy Hell, actually.
And right, you listen to there's a reason to call that, because you listen to it and you're like, holy hell.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It was
Good
definitely
Lord. It was so worth the wait. It was amazing.
Yeah, as I grew as a metal head and a metal listener, it was always, what's the next heaviest thing? That was always for me. And I got to a point where anything with any kind of clean vocal in it, I just kind of shoved off to the side. That's not for me. But
the way he does his vocals,
yeah,
like they're clean, but they're not clean by any means. Like they're Devin Townsend.
Yeah, he packs so much emotion in what he's doing. So yeah, I 100% agree. Architects are super underrated. Check them out if you haven't heard about them. Really, really great act. What else you got?
Next up, I got on there. Everyone knows who they are, but no one gives them the credit they deserve. Behemoth.
Oh yeah,
like Nurgle had cancer,
and he beat that.
He beat cancer.
He looked cancer in the eyes and said, "Nope."
Exactly. It's like, do you know who I am?
Yeah. If ever a band deserved or embodied their name, it's Behemoth. I mean, they really are something crazy, and
they're phenomenal at what they do. Amazing. Did you see they did a house show?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they did a house show like Behemoth. Like the same band that's played to like 100,000 people. Ended up, I think it's on YouTube. Check it out.
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that.
Last but not least, what I got for it: A Night in Texas. Not many people know who A Night in Texas are. I know you don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
They are so crazy. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like, think of how brutal Thy Art Is Murder is. Okay. Now, get angry about it and multiply it by 50.
And then, like, stub your toe on the coffee table.
And step on a Lego.
Okay.
That's exactly what I would describe it as. Like, you listen to it, and the very first, like, oh my God. That's how I describe A Night in Texas is.
Okay. Fair enough. My list is a little bit shorter. I just have a couple things to throw at you, but one underrated act, which is actually a tie-in with Architects because they share a member, is Silosis.
There you go.
I said earlier that we're not into the thrash kind of stuff as much, and I don't really think that they're traditional thrash by any means, but they definitely have those elements. But I appreciated what Silosis did in how incredibly clean they are. The first time I ever heard them, you were there, was at a concert, actually. Right. Never knew. Who's this opening act? Who cares?
Oh, that's when they opened up for for As I Lay Dying.
Yes, years and years ago, Try to Kill My Wife As I Lay Dying.
That's a whole other story. But that was whenever they had that kid they picked up at a gas station.
Like a 19-year-old kid on guitar because like their dude at the time broke his hand. But they were amazing. They were so clean that we didn't really headbang because we were just watching the stage. Like these guys,
our mouths were open half the time.
Oh,
we
yeah.
were just in awe how wonderful it was.
Robotic in their style. And actually, I read an article or an interview with Josh Middleton, which he's kind of the main guy behind it. And the interviewer mentioned about how clean and how good they are at what they do. And he said he couldn't afford to be bad because when they started out, they really didn't have the home recording stuff that you have these days. And they couldn't afford to go into these studios and pay $60, $80, $100 an hour to screw up and have to take another take. So they practiced all the time and got exceptionally great at their craft. And I think they're definitely an underrated act.
Absolutely.
So check those guys and Architects out. It's the same guy on guitar for the more recent Architect stuff. And fantastic. My other underrated artist isn't one artist. It's kind of one genre of artist, and it's really unfortunate to me. Because it's the guys that started metal. It's the original bands. It's bands like Death that death metal was named after.
Right.
You got Testament, Obituary, all of these old school metal as heck acts that
the originators.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They got the whole ball rolling, and they're still touring. Most of them are still touring to this day.
Right. I think there's a new At the Gates album coming out this year,
and they're not getting the recognition. These guys are going out and they're packing these RVs. I guess they're at least they're on buses these days. They've graduated from vans, but they're playing these shows. They're playing. They're 50 years old. They're angrier than any 18-year-old with a 19-string guitar these days. And I think anybody that claims to be a metalhead needs to at least go back and see where it began. They really need to go and look at it and say, this is the genesis, not the band, but the book of the original acts, and this is where metal came from.
As long as it's not Slayer.
Yeah, except for Slayer.
Unless Kerry King hears this,
and then definitely Slayer.
Slayer's the best then.
So that's it. Now, as far as underrated acts, that's kind of where we stand, but there's some overrated acts out there, and I've got a couple of them on my list. What do you have, though, Nick?
Slayer. It's literally listed on my paper here. Not trying to poke extra sticks, but I think we touched on exactly why. Once again, Mudvayne. I think they're one of the more overrated ones.
No kidding.
Now, bear with me on this.
Go ahead.
I'm referring to everything that goes up until whenever Mudvayne pretty much stopped being Mudvayne.
Yeah.
And then everyone started listening to them ironically. It's just like, if you don't know what LD50 is, you're not a Mudvayne fan. Shut up.
Yeah.
There's some amazing musicianship, and whatever you guys are doing, stop what you're doing, get back to what you do, and put out another decent album like LD50.
Yeah, that whole Hell Yeah thing really pissed me off. I didn't care for it. I'm not necessarily a Pantera fan, anyways.
Yeah, but at this point, what are you guys even doing? Vinny's gone. Come on, come home.
Yeah. So, overrated.
Rest in peace, Vinny Paul.
What else you got?
Last but not least, Slipknot.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, I know. I know that I had Mudvayne and Slipknot in my top 10 albums, but
yeah,
I don't know. It just feels like they were more or less catering to people after a certain point.
Yeah.
Just don't get me wrong. I love Corey Taylor. Yes. I think he's a phenomenal vocalist, but he needed to get out of Slipknot for a little bit. He went and did his whole Stone Sour thing. I get it. That's cool. You rock that Stone Sour. Yeah, it's what you do. Don't bring it back to Slipknot.
Right? Yeah.
Don't. There's certain times for certain things.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. There was a time where actually Stone Sour kind of got a little heavier, and I was having a really difficult time figuring out which act I was listening to. I would hear Corey, and I'm like, is this who is it? Is it the metal act or the supposed to be really heavy act?
If you're going to use it as an outlet, use it as an outlet.
Yeah.
Don't use it as a mirror. Don't use it as a reflection of what you want to do because you're not able to do it at that time with the band you want to be with.
Yeah, and I think one of the issues with Slipknot. Wow, we've really been bagging on Slayer.
I'm so sorry, Slayer. You're not bad at what you do.
One of the issues with Slipknot is, and you see this across every genre, it doesn't really matter, it's not metal specific, but as you gain success, that drive that kind of made you stick out, or that force behind your music tends to die down. So one issue with Slipknot is they started making money, and I think they just weren't as angry anymore,
I would not be angry with that kind of money.
Yeah, no, like, how can you be mad? How can you be Iowa levels of angry anymore?
Yeah, which Iowa, I'm surprised I didn't put that on my top 10.
It was amazing.
Oh my god,
that's number 12, I guess, for mine. Because
I'd say it's a hard 11 or 12 for me.
Yeah.
Iowa was good, but after that,
I was kind of over it.
That's why I'm so excited to see what this new album is.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. I really think that we all need to just kind of put the last couple albums out of the way. Put the past behind us.
I'll let bygones be bygones.
Yeah.
If they put out an album that I'm willing to actually spend money on.
Yep, absolutely.
It's going to take more than just one music video that we talked about all our life.
Right.
It's going to take more than one to get me hooked. I mean, that was a good song, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and I'll deliver the rest of the goods.
Exactly. I don't want to hear that and then the rest of the album be like, you get the idea.
Yeah. So on my overrated list, and I'm amazed that we got this far without mentioning this name at all throughout all of our ranting. I don't personally even think of them as metal, but a lot of non-metal heads or kind of metal heads think they are.
Please say Five Finger Death Punch.
It's Five Finger.
Oh my god, I was right.
Yeah, they really are becoming the Nickelback of metal. Their older stuff and like Motor Grader and things like that. It wasn't bad.
The bomb.
Yeah. But then they kind of got formulaic. They figured out, hey, this is what we can do to make money. And I think the killing point, because I started making fun of them a long time ago, but the killing point for me was the song "The Pride," when they had to literally tell everybody that they weren't selling out. And I think they're super overrated. I can't stand the guys that drink Busch Light and
Natty Light for them. Yeah. It's Natty Light, Monster Energy drinks.
Yeah. And Five Finger Death Punch.
Five Finger Death Punch, hats with flat bills, and the jackasses that wear rhinestones in the back pockets of their jeans.
Yeah, so you know who you are. They're not metal. Stop supporting this. They don't deserve it. These guys they're good at what they do, but what they do is extremely commercialized, and it shouldn't really be in the metal genre.
Well, see, there's a reason that I think that Ivan keeps relapsing. How many times has he left a tour or say he's quitting the band? Like
walked off stage before.
Exactly. He's not happy with what he's doing. It's because he's a phenomenal musician, and don't put the tiger in captivity. Let it out in the jungle. Let him do his thing.
Yeah,
bring back Motor Grader.
It is super produced and just not good. A band that a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me over on the old overrated list is Ghost.
Oh yeah. Why do people call them metal?
I know, that's exactly it. To be perfectly honest, the first time I ever heard Ghost, I genuinely thought perhaps Weird Al Yankovic had a side project. I heard it and it didn't do it for me. And I've heard so many metalheads loving this band, and it is barely hard rock.
Not even. It's alternative at best.
Yeah, it's not that great. I mean, the imagery is there. They have the imagery that makes you think, oh, these guys are going to be heavy. And
but I would much rather just here's what I would do: turn on a Ghost music video. Push mute, and then turn on some Opeth.
There you go. That's exactly what we need. Absolutely. So another band, and this is going to be me begging you not to think that I'm sexist in any way. It's bands that rely on good looks, more so than substance.
What,
Specifically, no, not Arch Enemy. No, they're fine. They're Butcher Babies. I don't know if you've even heard of them. They're not as big as some of the other bands out there, but they have two.
I follow their singer on Instagram.
Yeah, well, which one, the stripper or the stripper? So that's my issue with them is if you don't watch a video but rather listen to the song, it's mediocre at best. Obviously, on the overrated list, Metallica. They have to be. I know that they're one of the big four. They helped start the whole thing. They didn't start it, but they helped start it.
Yeah, but here's my view on it. Like, old Metallica, phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. Like, Ride the Lightning it's up there.
Anything Cliff Burton, absolutely.
Exactly. But then you have things that come out like Saint Anger.
Yeah. The load reload stuff.
Well, did you see the documentary for Saint Anger?
It was pretty rough.
Oh God, you had to fight to stay awake to see this whole thing. It's just like we're not writing anything good, so let's just keep not writing anything good. Like, stop it. What did they put out? They put out a load of. It
was bad. Yeah, I mean they had a half a decade of awesome and then several decades of crap.
But then they came out with Death Magnetic.
Yeah.
Now that was good.
Yeah, they come back, and that latest the album after that, everything's been getting better, and I think at this point I don't care anymore. And my big thing is they made a lot of money, and good for them. I think half of my issue with them is I'm jealous.
I want their money too.
And last on my list for overrated is. And I'm going to preface this with any band that can't play their own music, but obviously everybody knows I'm talking about Dragon Force. If you have to go to the studio and cut and paste your album together, 17 takes at a time, if you can't do it live, don't do it. You know, I'm not a Van Halen fan at any by any means, but Eddie had a really great quote years ago where he said, if you can't do it in 3 takes, you can't do it. And I absolutely agree with that. If you're going to put out awesome music, especially today when we have all these digital helpers that are helping us put things together, people are layering and things of that nature, make sure that you can put on a live show. I don't really care for musicians that are studio bands first and then they go out and they just don't bring that same passion to the stage, or it looks like they're struggling.
Well, it's like whenever me and you are writing music. You know, it's like, hey, do you think we should put another guitar part here? Well, the problem is there's only one guitarist.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we're not going to be able to play it live, why would we record it that way?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love Mudvayne, but I got to go back to them. Whenever I was younger and I first got into them, I thought they had 2 vocalists that sounded the same because he was constantly layered, and it gave a really great effect because, he could hold out notes while the next verse starts and things like that. Catch them live, and it sounds like an auctioneer, without any oxygen.
Well, he runs out of breath, so he's trying to catch up, but...
Yeah, you're not Busta Rhymes. Don't do anything in the studio you can't do live.
I mean, he hasn't been able to do that since LD50.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to sound smart. I think you're still a great vocalist. Don't get me wrong.
So learn to play your instrument, please. If you're going to call yourself a musician, if you're going to refer to yourself as an artist, that's exactly it. Put the effort in and learn it. And that's why he and I, Nick here, are talking to you over a podcast instead of being on a stage, because we kind of suck at what we do.
We are terrible at what we do.
But we can kind of talk. And that's what we've been doing. And I really appreciate everybody being here with us today. We're going to kind of wrap this guy up. This is our take on metal. And... yeah, thanks for coming in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, I wanted to put a big shout out to another podcast, Ramble on the Mountain. I actually I worked with Garrett on that podcast. He's one of the coolest dudes on the planet. Garrett, if you're listening to this, if you ever need anything, I don't care what it is, call me. If you say, hey, we got to hide a body, just let me know where I got to go with a shovel. I don't care. But check those guys out. They do a weekly. They're doing a video podcast. I mean, they're cooler than us.
Yeah, they're probably just not as ugly as us.
Well, they're definitely not as ugly as us.
Yeah.
Have you seen Garrett? He looks face of an angel. But yeah, they're on Facebook. Ramble on the Mountain. They also have a YouTube channel up of the same name. I'll get some links posted in the description along with this podcast that we're releasing today. But thank you so much for sticking around, for listening to us. I really hope that you guys enjoy listening to us ramble as much as we like to talk about it. As we mentioned in our teaser, it's just this is what we do on a daily basis. When Bruce and I get together, it's part music, part theory, part discussion. We don't really disagree on anything, but when we do,
we discuss it. We talk it out.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing.
It's called being an adult.
Yep, absolutely. So this is us, and we really appreciate everybody being here with us.
Sure. And last couple of things, we now have our very own .com. It's stuffamongotherthings.com.
Yay.
It takes you right to our website. You can listen to any of the podcasts that we got out. You can subscribe to anywhere it's out. As of today, we are now on Google Play. We are now on Spotify, and hopefully, if Apple starts, they stop dragging their feet, we'll be on iTunes pretty soon. So that's going to be very fun. It's going to be very exciting. We're on Instagram at Stuff Among Other Things, and we're just going to keep chugging away. We're going to do our best to bring the bee's knees to
just things that interest you, and it might not always be music related. Music's a big part of both of our lives.
We're gonna change it up every week. We're gonna keep things different. We're gonna keep things interesting. We have stuff about life, stuff about cars. It doesn't really matter because we're gonna have fun doing it, and I'm enjoying myself.
Absolutely. So until next time, this is Stuff Among Other Things. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next one.
Peace.